Dricus Du Plessis just beat Strickland to become the new middleweight champion, and it was an extremely close fight. A lot of people are calling it a robbery, which, okay, I don't think most MMA fans know what a robbery is. I think they're too quick to call any close decision that they don't agree with a robbery. A robbery is where one guy clearly won, but the judges gave it to the other guy. For example, Jared Gordon versus Paddy Pimblett. That's a robbery. This is not. This was an extremely close fight. I said going into it, it was a 50-50 fight, and at the end of the fight, it was a 50-50 fight. I had no clue who won, and no one did. No one could confidently say Strickland won, or no one could confidently say Dricus won. That's how close of a fight it was. I personally did score it for Sean. I think the first and the fifth round were clearly Sean's, and then the fourth round was clearly Dricus's. It really comes down to that second and third round. I gave the second round to Dricus. I think the third round was the decider. I personally gave it to Sean, but it was a dead even round. You could give it to either guy. So no, this fight was not a robbery. But let's talk about the actual fight itself. Both guys were doing a lot of stuff right. Sean was working off his jab really well. The jab was his best weapon. Sean's jab is so good, man. He has one of the best jabs in all of the UFC. There is no telegraph on it. It is perfect in form. He's so accurate. He was hitting that left eye of Dricus over and over again. It really reminded me of GSP in his second fight with Josh Koscheck. They used the jab in a very similar way, and they were both so accurate with it. And that jab was Sean's best weapon. Dricus has always had pretty suspect striking defense, and Sean was exposing that a little in this fight. Dricus has never really had good head movement, and he gets caught with his chin up in the air sometimes, whereas Sean has some of the best striking defense in all of MMA. We all know Sean has amazing boxing defense and looked great in this fight. He was blocking a lot of Dricus's shots. He was parrying some of them. Now Dricus was winging a lot of his shots from the hips, which made him way easier to defend, and we'll get back to that in a minute. But even when Dricus was landing on Sean, he wasn't landing clean. Sean was doing an amazing job rolling with the punches, which decreases a lot of the impact. And then where Sean impressed me the most was with his kicking defense. He has made monumental strides in that aspect of his game. That was one of his biggest weaknesses for a while. He just never checked leg kicks, and then the Israel Adesanya fight came around, and he improved a lot in that area. And then this fight around, and he improved even more. He was checking most of the leg kicks. Dricus, although not the best kicker, still has pretty decent kicks. They're hard to see, but Sean checked like 90% of the leg kicks. He defended a lot of the head kicks. Some of them did partially get through, but none of them landed clean. But where Sean struggled the most is defending the body shots. Dricus was using a variety of different strikes, constantly attacking the body. It was probably his best weapon throughout the entire fight. And then using those body strikes, especially the body kicks, started to open up the head on Strickland, made him a bit more hittable upstairs because he was worried about getting attacked to the body. And what about that grappling defense from Sean? Dricus could not establish any control on top of him. He was able to take him down. Sean's actual takedown defense didn't look great. Dricus went 6 for 11 on his takedowns. He was able to trip Sean out, very similar to how he tripped Robert Whittaker out. He was able to get Sean down in the clinch. From distance, he struggled a little more. Sean did sprawl on one of the takedowns, which was nice, but Dricus didn't have too hard of a time taking Sean down. It's just he couldn't establish any control on top of him. Dricus has always had good control. He's always been able to establish good positions and then transition into mount or onto your back, but Sean was constantly working. He wasn't just accepting positions. He was trying to get out of them. He was hand fighting. He was forcing scrambles, and despite Dricus getting 6 takedowns, he only had 2 minutes of control time, which is crazy, especially against a guy like Dricus. I can see why Sean is praised for his jiu-jitsu by his coaches and the people who train with him and himself. He's always said, I have good jiu-jitsu, I just don't use it. And he had to use it in this fight, and it looked amazing. He didn't use it offensively, but he used it defensively to get up, to defend positions, to prevent Dricus from getting any offense off while he was on the ground. But despite Sean's improvements and successes in this fight, Dricus did a lot of stuff right. After that first round, he made the adjustments. He started targeting the body more. He was using the body kicks because he wasn't finding much success upstairs, and then using those body punches, using those body kicks, the head started to open up. He started attempting takedowns, which even though he wasn't having much success with the wrestling, just the threat of the takedown kept Sean thinking, kept Sean on his heels, which allowed Dricus to have have more success in the striking game. He started walking Sean down, putting Sean on the back foot. Sean does his best. He's in his flow state when he's pushing you back behind that jab, behind the teeps to the body. So when you put him on the back foot, he's not less comfortable per se, but he's less effective. It's part of the reason why I think Israel Adesanya struggled so much against Sean, because Izzy's style is to move on the back foot, use his footwork, circle away, kick at you from a distance, put the jab on you, which is exactly what Sean wants you to do. But Dricus didn't do that for the second, third, and fourth rounds. He was constantly on the front foot, using the body punches, using the threat of the takedown. Now, his actual strikes were very sloppy. He looked way more technical against Robert Whittaker. Here he was winging punches from the hips, looping on those big overhands, which made them so much easier for Sean to see and for Sean to defend. He blocked most of them, and he would counter some of them, but I don't think he took advantage of those overextended punches as much as he should, and I think watching back the fight, he'll realize that. I think part of the reason why he wasn't putting as much of a pace on Dricus as he maybe should have was because I think he was waiting for Dricus to get tired and then drown him in the later rounds, which Dricus did start to get tired in the 5th round, but his cardio looked very good. So that big question of can Dricus go 5 rounds was answered. He absolutely can. And then that 5th round came and Sean started to pick up the pace a little more. He was putting more volume on Dricus, and that's where he had the most success. But it was overall an extremely close fight. Dricus got the nod from the judges, and it was just a fun and entertaining fight overall. They slugged it out at the end. As for what's next for both guys, I see a lot of people saying you should do the rematch. It was a close fight. There's no clear contender, and I'm definitely not opposed to that because there really is no clear #1 contender. Jared Cannonier is the most deserving of a title shot, but he did just fight Izzy for the title not too long ago, and it was a pretty boring fight that he got dominated in, so he probably needs another win. Same thing with Hamza and Izzy. So here's what I think should happen. I think you do Izzy versus Hamza for the #1 contender fight, and then you do the rematch between Sean and Dricus. It was an extremely close fight that a lot of people, including myself, thought Sean should have edged out, and there's not really any clear #1 contender at this point. But anyways, that is the end of the breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and you are new here or you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, like the video if you did enjoy, leave your opinions on this fight in the comments down below. Who do you think won? And I'll see you guys in the next one.